Welcome everybody back to the Chris Konya Show, episode 3. Thank you so much for checking us out. I hope you're having a great drive-in or a great walking of the dog, or you're on the treadmill, or wherever you're listening. Appreciate the couple minutes to check out the show. I'm joined today by a dear friend of mine. He is actually related to the last guest, Mike, on the show. He's a full-time plumber, all-around great guy, an Adonis, if you ask half of the women in Rochester, maybe more. Please welcome Nick Vitale. What's up, Nick?
What's up, man?
How's it going?
It's going great.
Thanks for coming in such a short notice to do this show.
My pleasure.
Getting it off the ground here. I want to talk to you about just how I introduced you, manual labor. You and I are both plumbers, but people who don't really know the manual labor industry or even plumbing specifically, they just think plumbers fix pipes and toilets and deal with crap. And that's not the case. You and I couldn't be more different in as far as our day-to-day work activities go.
Yeah, that's correct. Even when people think of plumbers or masons or electricians or anything in that construction trade, they don't picture people like you and I.
No, that's
with shaped beards and nice hair, and they think of that gruely man with busted knuckles and big hands, or
the plumber's crack,
or a belly or something like that. But yeah, no, it's cool to be against the stereotype and bring a different culture to the workplace every day. Be
decent looking, and it doesn't take much. You know what I mean? Like I remember, and we brought up the plumber's crack thing. There's a reason why, and if you're watching, I'm going to lift my shirt and show you. There's a reason why I wear, what's the politically correct term since you can't say wife beaters anymore? A shirts, whatever. Guinea tees, that's also offensive. You know what I'm talking about. I wear these every day since I was 11 because I was deathly afraid of my crack hanging out while I did plumbing while working with my stepdad since I was 10, 11 years old. So every day, summer, winter, whether I'm wearing a sweatshirt or a tank top, I'm wearing this underneath everything tucked in.
It's a good idea. I still see them daily, and I'm like, oh, Jesus. Yeah.
People are pretty open and brave to let that hang out.
Yeah. And how do you not feel that? How do you just not feel it?
I know. How is that a normal feeling? You just or you don't care.
You can't tell?
There's the you can't tell plumbing crack, and then there's the I don't even care anymore plumber's crack.
That's true.
It's a large difference. But when I was bringing up, when I was talking about us being different, even though we have the same profession, is you work on job sites with multiple trades, other plumbers.
Yeah.
Typically new construction, cleaner work, I should say.
Yeah, cleaner work. It's it's either that or there's two types of plumbers, right? There's the service guys who have their head in the toilets and under the sinks.
That's
and stuff.
me. That's my company.
That's you. That's stuff you do. That's the big bucks.
Yeah, the quick money.
Quick money. Where I'm on like a site for months, sometimes years at a time. Developing large multi-residentials or schools or stuff like that. Where you're there for a long time. You're working side by side with electricians, painters, carpenters, masons, everything.
It's funny. I was just saying to my girlfriend the other day is. We're driving back from somewhere. It's like a 2-hour drive, and halfway through, she's like on her phone or whatever, and I just start talking, saying like making noises and weird stuff, and like I don't know, making stuff up with the song that's playing. She's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "This is how I entertain myself all day. Is because I don't go to an office and talk to other people. I talk to the awesome customers I have when I'm there for the hour or so, but in between driving, I'm going crazy. I'm actually talking to myself."
Yeah, I there's ways to get through the day. Like, so for some people who like push papers or they're on the phone all day, they can't they're so busy. Like, and I'm busy too, but I can listen to whatever I want to listen to. So I do listen to podcasts. I do listen to music. I do listen to a lot of, just whatever I feel like listening to. It could be the same album like over and over again for 8 hours a day, but I can get through the day with that. So yeah, you obviously find little things that get you through the day and help you through the day. Daydreaming. what would you do if you won the lottery? Type
that's
shit,
fun. Until you check your bank account, it's like $74. You're like, damn, that yacht is not gonna be in the cards anytime soon. But I wanted to talk about because I think people listening to this, if you had an interest to listen to this, or you could be someone who wants to change jobs or careers. You could be a parent of a kid who just graduated high school or something like that. But because what I'm trying to show the audience right now is that what the actual culture of manual labor is. There's plenty of things you could picture, and I haven't done it in a long time because I've been in manual labor, blue-collar labor my whole life. So it's hard to figure out what people who don't know what it is really like, what they're picturing. You know, when you hear plumber and you've never done it before, what do you think people are picturing that have only hired plumbers, have never been in the van or sat in the back because there was somebody higher than you in the passenger seat, or have never been on a job site to go up and down to the stairs to go to the truck 11 times in an hour? What do you think people picture?
I would say if when I become a parent, I would be totally cool with my son or daughter getting into a trade. I think what most people fear about it is that there's not, you are dealing with rugged guys. You are dealing with they might go home to a big, really nice house, but because of what they do for a living, they're still rough around the edges. You know what I mean? Like
getting yelled at. And instead of going into a meeting with HR and your immediate supervisor, you're getting, not, I guess, called names. When I was on job sites, because I've done what you've done before, very, here and there, never for a long period of time. And the patience level, I wouldn't say is too high for either mistakes or being sluggish. So do you think people picture this
drill sergeant,
army / kind of,
in a way,
in an unofficial army?
Yeah, it's not structured like that, but like you said, there's not a ton of room for mistakes. And if you screw up, you cost the company a lot of money, or you can cost, shit rolls downhill, right? Mm-hmm. So if you lose the company money, someone's getting yelled at, it keeps going down until they figure out, oh, you were the one who screwed up. You were the one who, messed that up. And that's, that you could either get hollered at or they could just kick you off the job.
Do you think that the culture that's becoming the norm in corporate white-collar jobs, let's say, again, back to the HR thing where you can't say certain things or do certain things with coworkers, do you think that's bleeding into the blue-collar world yet?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I think so. I think people are obviously now watching a little bit more with what they say or what they do. You don't see too much. I hate to use the boys will be boys thing, but it's there used to be a lot more, ass slapping, let's say, you know, or spitball shooting, or
right.
I don't know,
just
horsing around and talking
even
around,
joking around, saying gross things that one guy could be kind of serious about and look, just getting the laughs to cover it up, or somebody could be completely joking about the words they're using. But it's either way, it rolls off the shoulder. The job goes on, and everybody goes home and is fine.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You don't want to lose your job over something stupid.
I think that's the least that could happen.
Right, and exactly. Next thing you know, your face is in the paper or something, and they're like, oh, homophobic plumber said something, or you can't be like, oh, that's gay.
Right.
Because what if he's gay, or what if she's gay, or what if
their brother's gay?
Their brother, you don't want to offend anybody, so you're not really walking on eggshells. This is being a decent fucking human being, I would say. But we think that stuff was funny, or it was funny, but even if you say, oh, that's gay, you don't mean, oh, that pipe likes other pipes. It's just, it's just a turn of phrase,
right?
Playing on words. But yeah, you definitely gotta. I think the hazing,
sure.
Oh, it's the new guy, let's fuck with him.
Right.
There's definitely not as much as that, because you don't want him to go back. Nowadays, people are looking for a reason to, get a lawsuit off of something.
I know it's such a hack thing, but do they still do the pipe stretcher prank or whatever in the plumbing industry, where they send you down to get? What they do is, and they, meaning the veterans of the job or whatever, the guys who are higher up who've been there, they go, get me the elbow, the trap, and the pipe stretcher from the truck. So these are, if you don't know the industry, the first two are real. The third thing doesn't exist. So the poor person, apprentice, or the someone's son or nephew that wanted to work for the day is doesn't want to disappoint the people who sent them to get this material, so they're looking around the van for something that doesn't exist.
Right. They pull out their phone and they're like Googling pipe stretcher.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what the freak is this? Oh, it's they call your phone. You're like, it's in the shelf.
It's right there.
You can't see a pipe stretcher.
And then they make you feel, like you're failing. Like, how do you not see it? There's two of them right there. They don't do that? No, okay.
Did you ever see that video, though, of like, there are like 4 construction workers, right? And they're on break and there's 4 cones lined up and they're having a kicking contest and they all kick the cone, right? So the one guy lines up, puts his arm up like he's a field goal kicker, kicks the cone, right? It hits the wall. Second guy kicks the cone, hits the wall. Third guy kicks the cone, hits the wall. The fourth guy kicks the cone, but underneath the cone was like something that was like up through the ground, and they just put the cone on top of it, so the kid just boots the fucking cone, and it just doesn't go anywhere.
There's no way this happened in America. This has to be like a Polish or
Russian. Those guys are savages, but
trying to pull it up now. Is this it?
Yeah, this is it. This is the
let's
one.
See if we can pull it up. And if you're listening, you can go to the video of this episode.
Okay, so they're not cones. They're just they're cups. They're
just little, it's almost like solo cups. They skip over one, so there's one left in the middle. Oh, this is.
That's so fucked up.
All right, the kid's okay though. He didn't break his foot, but yeah, I don't think that's happening much. That's definitely not happening in white collar jobs.
No,
never mind blue collar here in America. So I mean, that brings me to this point where when I dropped out of high school in 11th grade, because I wanted to do plumbing because I grew up doing plumbing and I knew it was a money maker and I wasn't interested in anything else, going to college or anything like that. I thought me dropping out and becoming a plumber was going to be the most shameful thing I did in my life, meaning, that's kind of dramatic how I said it, but meaning when I would meet, let's say, future girlfriends or whatever, the parents of those girls or girls that I wanted to become serious with, and they asked what I do or where I went to school, because every time I met the parents of a girl, they would ask one or two questions, and one of them would be, oh, where do you go to school? Or where did you go to school? Or where are you going to school?
Yeah.
And I didn't. So I wonder now, since I don't work with anybody else, I work alone in the service plumbing part, what kind of people are coming into the industry? What kind of, are you still the youngest guy in the job? Is there just some, being 32 or whatever you are, what kind of people are coming into the industry? Because it was always so-and-so's son, this person's nephew, mostly men.
That's how it is. It's still that. Like, there's a handful of younger guys, and, sometimes I look at them and I go, if I'm having a bad day or something, and I look at them, I'm like, how old are you? And they're like, oh, 20, 21, 22, 23. And I'm like, do you have a record? Do you have a criminal record? And they'll say no. And I'm like, then why aren't you trying to be a firefighter? Why aren't you trying to be a New York State trooper? Like, why aren't you trying to do these, fantastic jobs, rewarding jobs,
pension,
high-paying pensions and jobs like that? And they're like, oh, I don't know. But then they're dumbass kids.
Wait, okay. So I don't know if you're biased about this or not, but I get the opposite reaction from at least customers, because I only deal with customers. Again, remind people, I have a plumbing company. It's just me. I'm the only employee, and I obviously do all the work, the estimates, take the phone calls and everything. So the only people I deal with, as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson said, said that my boss is the people. My boss is the customer.
No, you're right. I don't see the customer. I see other builders. That's it.
And I get this crazy, and ever since I went on service calls at 16, 17 years old, I get this look like, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Go do something with your life.
Yeah, but I don't think that's true, because
it's not true. It's a great job.
It's an amazing job. You have no college debt. You start at a decent rate, and you really, really move up high really, really fast.
It's true. And I'm going to pause you there because I do have college debt, because I did give...
You did both.
I did give it the old college try. Unfortunately, I just didn't mature. I don't think I still don't think I've matured. I don't know. When I was in college, I had no idea what the hell I wanted to do. They were like, oh, what do you want to be? And I was like, I don't fucking know what I want to be. I don't know what I want to be. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, Chris.
Professional podcaster.
Podcasting. I'm refereeing. I ref like football and stuff. I've spent time on both sides of the bar. I love plumbing. I'm probably going to do it forever. Like that's, and I'm okay with that because I do like it and it is rewarding and I am good at it and it does pay very well. So, but as far as college debt goes, like I was in college for fucking ever, dude. I went to Alfred U, played some football there. Was asked not to come back.
Oh, didn't get the old invite?
Didn't get the old invite back. I went to MCC and I just was just turning my wheels. Like I was like, I don't know, do I want to be a gym teacher or do I want to be in physical education? And I was like, because that's what my brother Mike did.
Yeah, you heard him on the last episode here.
And now Mike was like a National Honor Society kid, like real smart, like good grades, and he had a really hard time finding work like after college. So I was like, well, what the fuck am I? I got like I'm a D student, like I didn't ever take anything seriously, and that's kind of how I like fell into plumbing because again, like how you were saying earlier about well, is it their son, is it their nephew,
right.
Is it their neighbor? Yeah, like my dad, had a job at Spoletta, and I worked there, and I was like, oh shit, dude, I kind of like construction. This is fun.
It's not bad.
No, it's really not bad, and the money was great. So it's like, all right, well, granted,
that's what sucked me into.
You know what's funny is you see these kids, they're getting paid pretty good, right, in their young 20s, and they're getting paid real good, and they don't have college debt, and you're like, because me, who has debt and stuff, and been in trouble a couple times, and you're like, I'm driving this car and they're like pulling up in nice trucks. I'm like, how the fuck do they afford it? Oh, they don't have $750 in student loan payments every month. They could, they could, flaunt and they could spend money. They're making that money. They're making good money.
Sure.
So, little bastards.
So honestly speaking, if you could go back and do it all over, would you completely skip college and go into plumbing? Those are the only two options. The firefighter thing is obvious, right? You want to get in at 18, 19 and be done at like 41 with a pension. Great. Those are too much of a fantasy for this discussion.
You know what?
Would you skip the college thing?
I'm going to say this. When you should not tell your children they could be anything they want when you grow up. They grow up. You shouldn't, because when you ask them that and they're thinking of that, they're not saying, oh, I want to be a plumber when I grow up.
Right.
Like they might say, hey, I want to be just like my dad, if I have kids someday, and they're like, oh, I want to do what my dad does,
Take over the family business or something.
That. Yeah. But like when you're a senior in high school, unless your dad is a plumber, a really successful plumber, or owns a plumbing business or whatever, you're not, that's not your dream. That's nobody's dream. It's nobody's fucking dream. Your dream, if you answer phones for a living, that's not what you wanted to be when you grew up.
It could be a dream in a sense where they want to own a business. It could be a part of a dream that is almost open-ended. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you want to, my goal is to own a business one day. I want to own a business and make a lot of money. And plumbing could be that industry.
Absolutely. And it probably will be. But when you were, when most people are 15 years old and the whole world is ahead of them, and they want to all be actors or models or runway stars.
I wanted to be a lawyer.
Or, you watch Liar Liar, you're like, I want to be a lawyer. Or a doctor or something like that. And then, like, you get there and you're like, you don't have the attention span, or you don't have the smarts, or you kissed a girl and you liked it, and all of a sudden your whole world is shifted to something else that you found an interest in.
Right.
And your future just kind of goes out the window. So I wouldn't tell your kids, oh, you can be anything you want, because then they're 21 and MCC with all these college credits where they don't know what the fuck they want to do.
Sure. Going on the strengths, that's what all the people who are successful say, or a lot of them. They say, find out what you're good at, and if you can find what you're good at and what you like at the same time, that's the mecca. But to say,
for a lot of people, they're like, they don't know that they're good at construction until they get into
your
it. Right?
Your 5'3" freshman is probably not gonna be in the NFL. Like,
no. Yeah, then that was the other thing. It's like, I had huge dreams of football, or being a professional, like being in the WWE or something like that. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm fucking white and 5'8" and 180 pounds soaking wet. Like, no, I like that. Your future ends there, Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, your dream gets shattered. So now what? Well, I sucked at school, so I'm not getting accepted into these colleges that are, and then so I finally did get accepted into Alfred University, and they're like, oh, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't freaking know.
That's your job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hated school so much. I was always late. I don't think I ever got past freshman English, and it's hilarious because I correct people's grammar and vocabulary all the time now.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to vocational school, which is around here, because I was down in New Jersey. Is that like BOCES?
Yeah.
Like it's like a trade high school kind of?
Yeah.
Or it's like or something?
Yeah, and you know what? And the real, I don't know, maybe it was just me being judgy in high school or whatever. But
there's a stigma that you're
But
stupid.
there was a stigma that you were like, oh, he can't take Spanish class, so he's going to go, melt
stupid.
shit together.
Right.
I
wish my even, okay, on that note, my stepdad, who was a plumber, since he took over his dad's business when he suddenly died, and my stepdad was like 20 or something, 21, so he dropped out, went and did plumbing, and was able to support my mom, who was disabled, who was sick, and 6 kids on that salary working by himself. He's the one that told me I'm not allowed to go to Votech because I'm too smart. I wanted to go to Votech, do plumbing, and get licensed like out of high school, which was the option then. And that's the moneymaker.
That is a moneymaker.
The plumber, the guy who taught me plumbing and made all this money and taught me how to make money, he said that was too bad. There was too much of a stigma that he said I'm too smart to go and do that. How about that?
Isn't that crazy? And for all the teachers, any of my teachers that are listening, like if they were like, if I said, oh, when the hell am I going to use the Pythagorean theorem? When am I going to use a squared? I use that shit every freaking day. I need to be a whiz at math. I'm a math whiz.
That's funny.
And it's like, I sucked. Well, I didn't. I was, what am I going to need to know a parallelogram? Like, I'm not going to need to know any of this crap. And then here I am, like, mortgaging a house and, and figuring out, like, a 45-degree angle. And, like, I'm punching all these numbers. I'm like, shit, man, I did need math.
You did need math.
So I had to like relearn all that crap,
Yeah. I mean, I think the point of this discussion was to, I would say, anytime anybody asks, I encourage.
Totally.
I encourage going. People say go to college, get your degree, and then try. I think it should be the other way around. I think learn a trade.
Yeah.
You could always go sit in a classroom. Not saying college isn't hard. It's a different kind of hard. It's mentally tough, and you have to be smart and diligent and stuff like that. I'd say if they have any interest, your kids or you wanting to switch careers, there's plenty of businesses and companies that will take you off the street knowing nothing. They'll train you and teach you a trade first. Because what would you rather do? Rack up all this debt up front to get a degree that you might not use or partially use, and try to pay that off with a lower paying job like a bartending or serving or working at a bank at random hours on a Saturday, whatever, babysitting, I don't know. Or the other way around. You could probably save and pay for college up front if you know the trade first. Yeah. So I think it's backwards at this point. I think trade first, then go to college later. You could sit in a chair and learn from a professor and take a test when you're 48. It's tough to go on a job at $10 an hour or $15 an hour when you're 48 to learn a trade.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll even take that a step further is like, if you're out of high school, bam, okay, your hours 7 to 3, right? Or 6 to 2. Mm-hmm. And that means you're out at 2. Like you can go take classes. You could go take night school, like, and stuff like that while you're
could do both
already in a career, like,
and you're learning at the same time.
At the same time.
Paid training that's the best example of paid training.
Absolutely. So to answer your first question, if I would have known that like plumbing was going to be such a profitable, like, job and career and, out of high school, I would have went and done that. Mm-hmm. And then like, I would have been like, okay, do I want to continue to do this and continue to work real hard at,
But you always have it. There's plenty of times because I went through the whole white collar track, let's say, or path. I went and got a job at a radio station, ended up getting on a show, and that's why I'm here in Rochester. And I did that for 6 years. And you would call that white collar because most of the time you need a communications degree, which is a whole nother conversation about needing a degree for jobs. So we could do that on another episode. But I did that, and now I'm back and throughout that whole time of making crap money to try to work my way up in radio, I always had plumbing tools in the back of my car. So if a coworker or somebody mentioned that they need plumbing, I can go make $100
easy.
What I would probably take 2 days to make in the radio world, if not 3.
Yeah.
So again, I like the double dip thing because you're
double dipping, man.
If you want that, if you have that hustle, double dip.
It's not even about the hustle. It's about the free time, man. Like you get so much free time when you're a plumber. Like, or in any trade, you're home by 3:00. Mm-hmm. Most people aren't home until 6:00.
Right, with rush hour and stuff.
With rush hour and everything like that. And then by the time they get home, they don't even want to go to the gym. Like, they don't even want to, like, they just want to kick their feet up, right? Maybe make dinner or order out. Like, when you're a plumber, when you're in construction, you're on your feet all day, right? So you have energy. That builds your energy.
It really is.
And then like when you get home, like you have the rest of the day to like do whatever the hell you want, whether that be school, whether that be like going to the gym and shopping, whatever you want. Like, the world is yours, man. I remember I worked in sales, man, and I just took my shot at it, and I was, I'd get home 5:30, 6 o'clock, and all I could think of was, man, I need to make money. I need to make money. I need to make money.
That's wow.
And it was stressful, and I was like, yeah, it's not really for me. I need to put my hard hat back on and get back out there. Guaranteed money. You know.
You go to work, you make money. It's that simple.
It's that simple, man. And like, I used to break your balls. You were home by 9 o'clock.
Yeah, when I was in radio.
Go get a 9 to 5, dude. Like,
but I always still did plumbing, even when I was doing okay in radio.
But look at, like, all the stuff that gave you free time was you were able to do everything else that you've done so far.
Good and bad. I mean, I didn't do plumbing every day. There was plenty of times where I'd stumble on over to Enrights when I was feeling a little thirsty at 10 in the morning.
Yeah, but
so
again, you had that freedom
perfect.
too, man. Time is what you work for, right? Like, you work to have free time.
I think the message of this podcast is, again, to take whatever stigmas left on the blue-collar world off, and I think give yourself or your kids a chance at, either avoiding that debt, that college debt, learning a skilled trade, especially since it's tough to find people unless it's someone's nephew or son or daughter or niece or whatever.
Because it's hard to convince a kid that, like, this is the right way if he's never seen it. Like, if he doesn't know anybody in it, and you're sitting there and you're drilling it into his head, dude, get into the trades, and he's like, nah, man.
They think they're settling. And the message is that they're not. So, dude, thank you so much for hanging out for a little bit.
Right on, man.
Appreciate you listening and watching, and make sure you subscribe to whatever platform you're listening or watching on, and more to come. Thanks for checking us out.
You caused me trouble.